Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been a minute since I made a long form video, but I just felt the need to make one now, so here I am. Actually, I was told to make one. God told me to make one, so that's why I'm here, and it's just some things I want to talk about. So, in spending time with the Lord, He has shown me some things about growing your relationship with Him in intimacy and what that requires. So, intimacy doesn't need rigidity or rigidness. It needs structure. And that rigidness and structure are not the same thing. Structure is a foundation that you follow for the sake of continuing rigidness. But, I'm sorry, not for the sake of continuing rigidness, but for the sake of continuing intimacy. But rigidness is more or less no room for flow or understanding or anything like that. No room for any of that. And also no room to see anything differently or more or less than what you currently see. So it's no room for growth or movement or flow or creativity or anything like that can build a safer place and feel for having that relationship. And it's important because when you're building a connection and trust and like that security with God, you have to be willing, you have to not even willing, but you have to be able to see yourself and see yourself in a way you've never seen before. See parts of yourself newly that you've never seen before, that you don't like, that are actually really wrong, that God may show you is truly, really, really wrong according to Him, and be able to sit in that feeling and be present with God and allow Him to teach you what you need to know to correct that, and also the origins and what you do means. And not run away from yourself for God out of shame or anything like that. So part of that means you have to let go of certain things, certain feelings from the past, certain beliefs that you have created based on past events, but not to completely erase the actions that were tied with those things, and to see them differently from what you may have in the past, because those beliefs are not attached to it. Like, oh, I'm a bad person because I chose not to listen to my dad. And now you feel guilt and shame around authority. Projection causes like this leakage and mess to bleed out on everything else. And that can blur your vision and just emotional state also, and really knowing where to work, what is true and what's not true. Yes, so and that in this, you will be chastised, you will be corrected, and to know that correction is truly love. Like, God really does love those He corrects. People will correct you if they love you, because they want you to go in the right direction. They want you to be guided by what is truthful and what is loving and kind, and not by the latter. And that is what love is. And it's not to say that things are perfect or you're perfect or anyone else is, but it is to say that God is, and He knows what's best, and He knows our hearts, and He is right there with us, which leads us to the next thing, which is God is working with you and in you. Amen. So He's working with you to He's working, he's holding your hand through the process. He's so gentle, he's so kind, but yet so firm in knowing where you're going. And he knows your heart. He holds your heart with so much care and love. And, he's letting you know, hey, you're not going through this by yourself. You have someone here always. His presence is felt through his correction, through his love, through his, presence with him. And while you're working and trusting him and changing things in yourself, and he also works and changes things in yourself that may not seem to be related, but it is, and you won't know. He's not going to, if you can't handle it, he's not going to tell you. If it overwhelms you and you start to feel like you have to manage all this, he's not going to, tell you about it. And you don't necessarily need to know. That's the part of it. Like, you probably won't know because you don't need to know. And it's just about having that trust and faith in him and walking in that way. And yes, a change in the rigidness. Just got this, I want to speak on this, a change in rigidness, meaning intellectualizing what it takes to actually be faithful rather than doing what it takes to be faithful. And that's the difference between rigidness and structure, because structure is faith and trust and knowing that God is real in your heart, in your gut. But rigidness tells you that you need to intellectualize these things and say, hey, I need to do this specific way for it to affect this specific thing. Like, okay, I'm a person with faith. What's a person with faith do? Well, a person who's faithful, has integrity, in all aspects of life. And, you just do it in a way where it can be stressful, and not to say integrity is stressful, but to say that you try to micromanage yourself in very meticulous ways that are necessary. And that is not what is needed to build that relationship with God. So, and also be more patient with your partners, with men. Be more willing and understanding of them, and be patient. And take your time in understanding them, and be careful and caring with their hearts. So yeah, and I think that's important, especially with today's society. Most people have some type of male figure perception, and we have to remember that God is also a male. He's masculine, he's not feminine. So just being more patient and willing to understand them as a whole can bring you closer to God. So I hope that helps. I love you all. Again, this is not just me and my knowledge. This is literally God, like, not me. So I hope that helps. Then speak to him about anything that I may be saying that may confuse you, or you may want to talk more of, whatever the case may be.